Imagine going to work every day and using the same entrance for 20 years until one day someone says, oh, we need you to go back out of the building and re-enter through the regular entrance. Now also imagine that you took a long hike to get to where you are, and now you have to go back outside to re-enter. 20 years. James Dolan is the biggest clown probably on the East Coast. Us Knicks fans have endured pain. We should be getting paid to go to your games. What are you going to do now? You're going to kick Spike Lee out, the man that has invested 20 years of his life into this franchise that has done absolutely nothing in the last decade? Beth Phoenix got some free smoke from Randy Orton. We're going to talk about the Beth Phoenix, Edge, and Randy Orton situation, as well as Spike Lee being asked to re-enter Madison Square Garden. At the end of the day, it is a new year, but it is the same season. What is the synonym for that? New York Knicks. Ladies and gentlemen, in case you've been living under any kind of rock, we all know James Dolan's negative influence on the New York Knicks, especially over the last 7 or 8 years. And now it is just getting worse. Well, Nick, every time I hear James Dolan in a headline, I think to myself, it can't get any worse. Oh, it can, and it will. Spike Lee, one of our own, was given shit yesterday, or Monday, I believe. Maybe it was the game against Houston, for entering via the employee entrance. Now, for those of you that don't know Spike Lee and are just new on the basketball scene, Spike Lee is a die-hard superfan of the New York Knicks and has been attending New York Knicks games near courtside for the last 20 years or so. He is well known among the Knicks fans and most of the basketball fans in all of the community. Spike Lee used the employee entrance like he always did, except Monday, for some reason, it was an issue. Now, for any of you that go through a sporting event, you know the rigors of getting to your actual seat from the outside. You know, you have to go through the tickets. You know, you got to get scanned. You know, you got to go up the ramp. We'll use Madison Square Garden because that's the example. You go in, right? You have to walk to the garden, right? From getting off. Let's say you get off of the train, right? It's a 2-minute walk. Right in. You get scanned, right? Frisked and whatever. Then you have to walk up a long pathway. Now, the pathway itself technically isn't that long, but when there's a lot of people getting in at the same time, it is going to take a while. So picture yourself, I don't imagine Spike Lee having this issue, but picture yourself waiting in that line for 20, 30 minutes. Usually, again, it's not that long. This is maybe not the best example either. Okay? And you are in, they scan your ticket, you're in, and you're going to your seat. Now, for some reason, in most sporting events, there's 15 escalators you have to take to get to your seat. You get to your seat, you get your food. Now, this situation that happened with Spike Lee was long before all of this. And you're told that you went in the wrong entrance. We need you to go back outside and re-enter. First off, I'm already in the building. So I don't understand what going outside and coming back in is going to do. What kind of satisfaction does that give you? That's like walking through the front door, right, of your household. Or walking through the side door and you're in your house. Your parents say, walk back outside and go through the front door. I'm already in the house. So now I have to go back outside. Again, this is just a house. We're not talking about a giant arena. Okay? There's no purpose in that. Right? Now, the problem isn't... Now, if I had used the employee entrance and they said that, well, I would have a few questions. For those of you that know sporting events, you know that once you leave the arena, there is no re-entry. No excuse whatsoever. Once your ticket is scanned and you are in your seat, you walk around the arena, you do whatever. Once you physically leave the arena, you are not permitted to re-enter. Now, Spike Lee would probably be granted that special permission because he's Spike Lee. How could he be denied that? But it's the idea and the concept. Most people that work for the New York Knicks, security vendors, I'm sure they are all aware who Spike Lee is, right? So apparently he was going to the elevator. And while standing, it was the 5th floor. I don't know exactly what the situation was. And there was security or whoever approached him and said, we need you to re-enter. You went through the employee entrance. He didn't do it once. He didn't do it twice. Spike Lee's been doing this for 20 years. For some reason, on this Monday evening, this was a problem. Well, why is this a problem? That's a very good question. So he says no, he's not doing it, goes up to the 6th floor, and I think that when he got to that floor, he was approached by a bunch of security. Now, I don't know exactly how the next process went. We didn't get too many details there. He had some friends with him. And anyway, so Spike Lee is at his seat. Halftime comes. And I believe, to my knowledge, James Dolan approaches him. And I don't know exactly what the exchange was. A lot of people are saying they were handshaking, talking, but I don't seem like that was the issue. I don't think that that's what really happened. James Dolan approached Spike Lee about the issue. Again, we don't know the exact details of what was said. At least I don't. Maybe that's bad because I'm giving this news out to people. So that's really it. But it's the concept of James Dolan creating more issues for his fan base and just being a complete cancer to the organization. We missed out on Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, not because the Knicks are terrible, but because of James Dolan. And it had nothing to do with New York because they both came to New York, but they went to Brooklyn, right? If the Knicks were bad, but their ownership was well-liked, and they seemed to be headed in the right direction despite having a losing season and not doing well, I still think both of them would have came. Now, Zion Williamson's a complete different story. That was a ping-pong ball or a lottery ball, and that is just luck. And if there's anything that we know about luck, it doesn't work with the New York Knicks. Okay? So we lost out on 2 elite talent. And now we have the Charles Oakley situation. He said James Dolan is bad for basketball. That's when you know it's getting bad. It's not just the Knicks fans, it's him. We have the James Dolan, the fan, yelling to sell the team. Why? Are you really going to get into an altercation with the fan? Ignore him. Ignore him. Being an owner of a professional sports team is going to come with things like that. If you do not like that and you want to change, maybe publicly address the situation. Maybe deliver some of your promises, because over the last 3 to 4 years, I don't think the Knicks have made any progress. They have gotten better players and shown potential, but they haven't made any progress. 17 wins, 17 wins, 19 wins. There's no gap of progress. Now, it's one thing to be a few bad years, but the Knicks have had bad decades. This is not a couple of season things. Okay? Now, not having luck is one thing. That's not James Dolan's fault. But it's the way that he acts and the way that he addresses the Knicks fans and the way that he gives us problems. James Dolan has no interest in selling the Knicks, and we know this, okay? Now, the number one priority would be to get him to sell the Knicks, but that's not going to happen, okay? He is an owner that is not very good. I don't really know what the players think. I'm sure a lot of them probably don't like him. And we have players outside saying things, and that is the situation for the New York Knicks, okay? That's fine. But while James Dolan is staying, he should do the best to better his image, because all people think about when they think of James Dolan is him throwing fans out of the Garden, him arguing with Charles Oakley. The Spike Lee situation is definitely not good. Spike Lee, of all people? It is not even like Spike Lee went to his first Knicks game, and I know you're synonymous with the organization, Spike, but please don't use the employee entrance, okay? Going on from now forward, okay, thanks, enjoy the game. They went through this whole process. Spike Lee is not new. He's not new here. This is not his first rodeo. He is a diehard Knicks fan in his element. And if you've been a Knicks fan for 20 years, you're spending $300,000 a year on tickets, and you're spending probably over $10 million lifetime, you can use that damn employee entrance. Because the Garden is mine. Or I own the Knicks, and while the organization is here, I make the rules. But no, James Dolan wants to create problems, and for whatever reason, he wants to do it with Spike Lee. Spike Lee has bent over backward for James Dolan. Not to support him, but he's bent over backward to the extent of shelling out all that money. He put over $10 million in Mr. Dolan's pockets. And this is how... I've heard nothing positive about James Dolan over the last 5 years. From anybody. Anybody. I have not heard anybody within any organization. Now, again, you're not going to fire a shot at another owner, but players, I haven't heard any positivity. So it's not just, oh, this is how he looks, this is how he's presented. This is how he is. Okay? James Dolan is a problem, and he will continue to do so until he sells the team, and I wouldn't look forward to that happening. So it looks to be another interesting development, and I'm very interested to see where the rest of this goes. Spike Lee said he's done. He's not coming to the Knicks game for the rest of the year. And you know that hurts him because he wants to be there. He wants to support the players. He wants to support the franchise, but he can't do so because James Dolan is an asshat. That is all I've got to say about that. Very frustrating, very aggravating. And now it affects us Knicks fans because he is picking on one of us. Knicks. Oh, yes. Monday Night Raw. Oh, yes. Well, I'm surprised I said oh, yes, because Monday Night Raw has been terrible. But the WrestleMania build's been actually surprisingly decent. Beth Phoenix was presented or advertised to be on Raw, and I knew the second that she was that Randy Orton needed to give her an RKO. The segment between Randy Orton and Beth Phoenix was beautiful. Edge will either appear on Raw next week, we'll hear him via satellite, or we'll get some kind of initiative. But this is where Randy Orton goes to that place, and he crossed the line. I am expecting Edge to be very furious. Okay, so what happened was Randy Orton was talking about all the things that Edge did for him, all the things about saving his life. And now, since Edge is older and Randy Orton said he can't go anymore, Randy Orton's defense was that he put him in a wheelchair so he could spend time with his family and he can't wrestle anymore. That pissed Beth Phoenix off. She slapped Randy Orton. He didn't like it. He was getting pissed. But that didn't trigger him. She then went to kick him in a gut kick. She did that, and then Randy Orton leveled her with an RKO. This was a beautiful segment, exactly what needed to happen, and I can't wait to see, because this is the best-built storyline heading into WrestleMania. I cannot wait to see where this goes. I will talk more about this. Maybe I'll get back on a podcast, because that is something that definitely needs to happen. I feel like I am dead on Podbean. I've been very busy, but anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching.